Everyone, welcome to episode 8 of the Bridge the Gap DFS channel. Wanted to talk about NFL Week 1. NFL has come and went. First week was here. And the good news for most of you folks out there, if you're finding this, I'm a pretty experienced basketball player, pretty experienced baseball player. I have yet to show a profit in the NFL. So I plan on journaling how this year goes. We'll do a recap every week and see if I can learn some things, if I can get better, and if I can put myself in a position to be profitable at football. And if I can do that, then we'll be looking at being profitable in at least 3 sports and being on my way to being able to do this professionally if I wanted to. So DraftKings has awesome contest. I'm going to primarily give most of my action to DraftKings, which I already do, but I did play on some FanDuel. That was breaking even. I did play on Fantasy Draft, and I lost about $150 there. I had some money in that account from basketball, and ruined about 20% of my basketball profits in 1 week. So that's why staying disciplined and not chasing these big contests is so important. And I tell you guys to do it, and I still struggle with it. We'll take a look at how I did week 1 with NFL. It wasn't that great. In fact, it was a losing week overall. I played in the mini maxes, and we'll take a look at those. I lost across the board. I don't want to get too discouraged about my strategy. This was a week when the chalk hit. For those of you unfamiliar with what chalk is the popular plays. In NFL, a popular play is somebody that's going to be owned by about 30% of the field. And this week, the chalk plays were Alvin Kamara, James Conner, Michael Thomas, Drew Brees. Each one of those guys went for 30 points. In football, if you score 200 points, you're going to have a chance to win a good amount of tournaments. If you can manage to score over 220 points, you're probably winning everything. And this week, if you scored over 225 points, you barely even cashed. We'll go ahead and take a look at that right now. I've never seen football scores this high. The guy that won the Millionaire Maker actually had over 300 points. It's the first time I've ever seen that happen. And so I have 2 thoughts about it. One, the first thought is we'll never see that again. The second thought is, well, maybe this is the direction that football's heading with everything that they're doing to make the game safer. Is a byproduct of that is turning it to more of a pass-happy league, similar to what we see in college football. The amount of pass plays versus run plays goes up and has gone up every single year for the last couple of years as the NFL's geared towards trying to get safer. So let's take a look at the Millionaire Maker. There you have it, 301. The cut line was actually 180, so I was a little mistaken by saying that over 225 probably didn't cash. Let's see if we can take a look at what the cash line was for the mini-max. So again, the 180. So if you scored over 180, you did well, but you're not winning a tournament if you didn't score 285 in the mini-max. I think my best lineup was in the 250s. So because of that, that saved my bacon for the week. The week could have definitely been better. I made some mistakes this week, and we're going to go over some of that. Again, if you need to find this tool, it's at Fantasy Cruncher. What we're looking at is free on their lineup rewind, and this is where you can go and you can back test to see, okay, I sucked this week, but can I identify anything that I could have done better? I actually spent time looking at that this morning, and there's no way I could have got to 300 points. Even making a couple of adjustments, I was still hitting about 250 for my top lineups. And that's okay. I don't think it's the time to overreact because we're in a new season. And ironically, week 1 of this year was the complete opposite of week 1 last year. Week 1 last year, nobody hit. The only stud that actually got to value was Antonio Brown. David Johnson got hurt. Le'Veon Bell didn't do much in a juicy matchup against the Browns. Nothing worked week 1 last year. Flash forward 365 days, everything worked this week. Very few people disappointed. It was just a matter of being on the right combinations. I definitely think I was on the right players. I just don't think I had them in the right combination. So I don't really want to overreact to my week 1 results. If you go back and look at, and this is why I break everything out into every category so I can see what's working and what's not working. So we'll go through each category and I'll give you my thoughts about them. So the other thing that I didn't do a good job of this week is I did dabble up to the $2 contest. In week 1 NFL, DraftKings really puts out a lot of contests because they're really trying to drive and market their product. And that usually invites new players, and it also yields contests that don't fill. So I was chasing what's called overlay. We talked about that in a previous video. Basically what that means is if DraftKings is going to guarantee a contest and it's a 100-person entry contest, but only 88 people show up, DraftKings is still going to play all of the payouts, even though 88 out of the 100 did not show up, or only 88 out of the 100 showed up. So it's a way to offset some of the rake. The rake is what DraftKings takes as their fee for setting up the contest. It's similar to the Vigorish, the Vig, or the Juice if you're coming from a sports betting or poker background. So getting back to our results, so we saw the 150. The 150, I totally sucked. This is where I did make some progress, though, and these are the contests that I'm primarily going to stick to. Moving forward, I'm going to be disciplined to the levels. I'm going to stay at the quarters until we can justify moving up in stakes. Here on the classics, these are your quarter jukeboxes, your solo shots, the $2 safety. That's what's considered the classic. It went okay for the most part. The losses didn't really kill us other than the 4-game afternoon slate. Did really well on the Thursday slate. Did solid on the 3-game afternoon turbo, and then on the 15-game slate. Again, this is an area of opportunity for us as everybody and their mom is going to play on the main slate because those are where the big payouts are at. But you can see that we made most of our money here on the 2 slates that include all of the games or most of the games, and a lot less people playing these contests. I'm not the smartest guy to play this thing. I just try to put myself in a position where I can get an edge, get an advantage, and not going up against the people that are in the best in the world are attacking things. If you had, a Ryan Fitzpatrick stack with Mike Evans or Deshaun Jackson, Buccaneer stack this week, you went off. And you're probably going to see more of that here as people try to get sneaky with plays that aren't going to have big ownership like that in this. So that strategy isn't going to work as well here, where in some of these larger contests, you might get more casual players that just want to play Tom Brady and just want to play, Drew Brees. Drew Brees worked this week. Tom Brady worked this week. So that's going to benefit us in the future when the bigger names don't go off. But this is just why you break everything up, is learning, hey, where am I making money? Where am I losing money? This next set here is the contest, and these are smaller in nature, 100 entry field to 500 entry field. These don't treat me well in baseball. I don't play these in baseball. The only time these have ever treated me well is in basketball. And starting out already $113 in the hole, I'm going to put these on hold until I can build up a bigger sample size. And again, not drain into my bankroll, because if we take this out for the week, lot better of a losing week. Losing $100 is a lot easier to stomach than losing $200. The micro boosters, these are usually something that works really well for me. It did not come through in week 1. That could be because they're more top heavy. The entry fields are a lot bigger than what we see in basketball and baseball. So I think I'm going to use some more caution here. I'm still going to play at the quarters, but I think I'm going to avoid playing at the $2 levels. Satellites didn't go too great either. Basically, on this day, it was kind of a wash. I'm chasing Millionaire Maker tickets. What my goal is for this year is to play at the lower stakes, refine my strategy, pick up satellite tickets, and then when I'm really confident with how things are going, I'll turn those satellite tickets into entries into the Millionaire Maker. That way, if I go belly up in the Millionaire Maker, it's going to come from tickets that I want at the quarter and dollar levels and not $3,000 out of my bankroll. $3,000 being The Millionaire Maker is a 150 entry contest with a $20 buy-in, so 20 times 150 is $3,000. Showdown really saved my bacon this week. A big piece of it was from the opening night game. I actually did not do that well, but these numbers are inflated because I had over 100 tickets into the $1 million contest that they ran. I had about $1,000 of ticket. No, I had $1,200 of ticket equity, and it came out to $300 in profit. So I didn't actually have $1,200 of my own money. A lot of those tickets I won playing baseball contests at the quarter and dollar levels. So after you backtrack the math, you can see that I probably had about $50 in tickets for $295 of cash. So if we take that out, let's say this is $150, and we take out the $295, that's what that could have looked like. So these numbers are a little inflated, but it did get me from level 1 to level 2. We've exceeded the level 2 threshold. So this week I will be playing the quarters and the dollars for the showdown slates. Tiers is a new contest that they rolled out this year, and this one right here was actually the 150 entry contest, and I did okay at that. This is something that I'm going to continue to play. Basically broke even here, and I made a big mistake on the minus $26 here that I'll correct moving forward. So this might be an opportunity for us to continue to diversify and pad our bankroll. You really want to hone in on this so you know where you're hemorrhaging money. The mini maxes will continue to play. They're only 50 cents to enter, $75 max entry, and they're really fun. Top heavy big payouts. The classic seems to be an opportunity for us to consistently cash. The contest, I'm done playing for a while. The micro boosters, I think will turn, but I just need to be more cautious there. Showdown has proved successful early. The tiers is something that we'll continue to pursue, and I think we will be able to level up there sooner than later. Winner take-alls didn't shake out as well as we would have liked to, and I think that I might be playing a little bit too much volume, even though these were only quarters. So that's one of the things why, I don't want to play quarters because I can't get enough action. So this is $141 all from quarters, so you can get the type of action that you're looking for. I was in first in a couple of these contests up until the last couple minutes of some of the games, so this could look vastly different. And again, this was a week where everything worked for everyone for the most part, and the people who typically do well are the people that avoid the chalky plays. Those people lost, so I anticipate that we'll see regression to the mean of the chalk being inconsistent, and being able to go out on a limb on a lesser owned player will benefit you moving forward. So there's a recap of how week 1 went for me. Definitely not the way I would have hoped, but I actually had way more in play than I should have, and I could definitely feel it affected my mood. It affected, I felt some anxiety at certain points during Sunday, which is interesting because when you're playing at the lower levels, for instance, on the Monday night contest, which I didn't do well on, I didn't worry about it at all. I didn't check the scores on my DraftKings lineups until after the games, and I just didn't care because I had so much less in play, and it just goes to show you some of the destructive things that can happen from playing with too much money. You want high volume with as few entry dollars as you can get. That's the best way to grow. The other thing to consider too is we've got to look at this from the same frame of like baseball. A result in a one-day contest like this for baseball is pretty common. So the fact that over the weekend I probably had over $3,000 in play and ended up only losing $200, and I should have lost a lot more. So thank God that I didn't get my ass handed to me in a way that I could have and probably should have. So I'm taking this as a bullet dodged, and I don't want to adjust too much in my process in week 2. I want to see, hey, what do my results look like when everything isn't working as well as it did in week 1? Because that's where we're going to have an advantage of when all of the popular plays don't work. What do we know, or what can we put into play that no one else is on? And that's how you win the big money. Kind of like that stack that I had in baseball on Saturday. I don't think very many people were on the Phillies combined with the Angels, so that gives me, probably a lineup that's owned by 1% of the field, And if that combination goes off, then you catapult the rest of the competition and put yourself in a position to finish high. So those are a lot of the principles into DFS. Some of this is intro stuff. Some of this is a little bit higher level stuff. But again, I just want full transparency so everybody can see, hey, what does it look like for somebody that's not one of the top players in the world, but slowly figuring things out? What can I do to learn from them and avoid some of the mistakes? So key takeaways here is stick to the quarters. Don't get overly excited at a new sport, and then be very critical of your results so that you know where you can get better and where you can stop siphoning money. Because if we shore up some of the places that we're hemorrhaging cash and get tighter in the places that are making us money, I have a good feeling that this spreadsheet's going to look vastly different at the end of the year. And I'm starting there right there with you guys. These are all quarters, and we'll continue to play in the quarters until we've earned the opportunity to step up in stakes. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you got some value out of it. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Twitter or leave me a comment @SwimG on Twitter. Talk to you soon, guys.